was reading some articles on Christmas traditions, and I'd like to share a few of those from different countries throughout the world. In Venezuela, which is predominantly Catholic, do you know how most of those, if not all of them, go to church on Christmas Day? Does anyone know? They go on roller skates. Yeah, true. And I looked up and find out where the origin of that is, and I can't find that. But the streets are all closed in Venezuela, and they go on roller skates. In Ukraine, they decorate the trees with what? Very good. Spider webs. Who said that? Oh, good. Very good. Webs are considered lucky in Ukraine, and it goes back to a legend where a poor widow couldn't afford to decorate her tree. Then the next morning she woke up and the tree was decorated with all sorts of webs. In Japan, a very secular country, do you know what their main meal, what they eat on Christmas Day is? Kentucky Fried Chicken. True. Kentucky Fried Chicken. In Germany, they use this tree ornament, and when the children, whoever finds it, gets a special gift. What is that one? A pickle, right. And the oldest tradition, dating way, way back, at least 1,200 years and probably 1,500 years or so, is the Polish tradition of, most of you, some of you even do that here. We sell them at the church. What is it? The Apotnik, yeah. You know, originally that was probably started with, connected with the Mass, and then it took on a meaning of creating a unity among the family and the importance of family. And I thought, you know, as families, we may not have it all together, but the family together, we have it all, right? Families may not have it all together, but families together have it all. And how very true that is. Traditions are important, as we all well know, and essential, really, right? They're essential. But that's not what all that Christmas is about. It's about traditions and something else, right? Mike and Amy were married in September, and this was the first Christmas they were spending together. And they were all excited, and right after Thanksgiving, they started decorating their house. And Michael pulls out his nativity set from his grandmother. And they were putting this up, and his wife Amy says to him after they were finished, "I can't find the little baby Jesus in the manger part." And he said, "I'm sure it's here." And they looked all around, they couldn't find it. Then during the week, Amy stopped at several stores trying to find just the baby Jesus to match their manger set and couldn't find one. They said she was going to have to buy the whole thing. So on Saturday, she's putting this manger set, putting it together in the box, and Michael sees it and says, "What are you doing?" She said, "You know, we can't keep this manger set if it's not really a nativity scene without the baby Jesus." He said, "I think we should leave it up." And she said, "I can't." And then he said, "Step back from a minute." He said, "At first glance, you don't notice anything that's missing." He said, "It's not until you look closely that you see the Christ child is gone." She said, "But I don't get the point." He said, "You know, amid the decorations, the shopping lists, and all the parties," he said, "sometimes we lose sight of the reason for the season. Somehow Jesus seems to get lost in the midst of Christmas." They recently celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary, and every year they put that manger set up without the baby Jesus. And it's a reminder to them to make sure they look for Christ and make him part of their life. And that's what Christmas is about, isn't it? That's what Christmas is all about. constant. She woke up between 1 and 2 in the morning, and she said it was like something just shook her out of bed. She was in New York City at the time. Her husband was away. And she just couldn't sleep. And she pulled out her prayer books and she started praying for those at sea. And she prayed that for several hours until 5 in the morning. Then peacefully she went back to sleep. When she woke up several hours later, she heard the news, the tragic news, that the Titanic had sunk. Her husband, Colonel Archibald Gracie, was on that ship. This is what he wrote. After helping the women and children into lifeboats, he sank into the ocean with the ship. He said, "I was in a whirlpool, swirling round and round, as I tried to cling to the railing of the ship, as it plunged to the depths below. Down, down it went," he said. "It seemed like a great distance. Ascending back to the surface, I could see no Titanic. She had entirely disappeared beneath the surface of the ocean without any sign of wave. There rose the most horrible sounds I've ever heard in my life. The agonizing cries of death from over thousands of men and women." He said, "I Bibled a while in those icy waters, and then I tried to swim away from the wreck as far as I could." He said, "My body was starting to freeze, and I started to give up, when I noticed shortly before me was an overturned lifeboat. There were a dozen men who climbed in the bottom of it, and there they were clinging to life." He pulled himself aboard. Some 1,513 people perished that night, and Colonel Archibald was one of the few survivors, less than a handful, that were not in a lifeboat. The ones that were on top of that little ship, that little lifeboat, the top of it, 3/4 of those didn't survive the night. Colonel Gracie said, the only reason he survived that night was directly related to his wife praying in New York City. And so we ask ourselves tonight, don't we, my friends? Someone praying 2,000 miles away, can they affect someone else? "2,000 miles away, can something we do here affect something that far away?" It saved his life, his wife's prayers. You see, my friends, our God is a powerful God. And in the world today, he's considered irrelevant and powerless. How wrong they are. How wrong they are. And how each and every one of us need him in our lives. Peace on the outside, my friends, comes from knowing God in the inside. So today on Christmas, as we celebrate these beautiful traditions, may we continue to celebrate them and our families. And may the Christ child live and reign in the hearts of each one of us. God bless you.